Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Deal with D and J. I'm your co-host, DJ McCatherine, joined alongside Jacob Pereil. How are we doing, Jacob?
Doing great. Just came back from vacation, hence why we didn't have the episode last week. Vacay was good. Little boys trip.
There you go. I wasn't invited, by the way, guys.
No, but don't hate DJ. DJ was busy with a wedding the week prior. But listen, fine, DJ. Listen,
not a wedding week.
The boys are coming to Waco in November. Sounds like you got to join us.
All right,
we can rip a full live episode of the pod in November. That's what I'm hearing.
That would be kind of sick.
But listen, great weekend. The weekend started off a little weird. Boys Land, beautiful. I want you to picture this. Beautiful, sunny, gorgeous, right? 75, okay. Sunny, beautiful.
Okay.
We go get lunch. We come out. There's gray clouds. We're like, oh, I knew there was going to be some thunderstorms in the area. No, instead, it was a tornado warning that turned into the tornado touching down 2 blocks from us, from where we were staying. And we literally saw it forming above where we were staying, and it touched down 2 blocks later.
Video proof?
Not of that. It was just, we kind of were just like, eh. And then I saw the clouds like swirling, like literally like where we were staying. We're up on the 3rd floor, crashing at my aunt's, and it was like coming down. And I was like, we need to go downstairs before we're the first people to eat this tornado. So we went down and it touched down, and it did some significant damage in St. Louis, but outside that, the weather the rest of the weekend was beautiful.
The nature has its ways, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say,
how's DJ? No one ever asks.
I was waiting for that.
Nobody ever asks how the guy's doing when he opens the show. DJ, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I got my Oak Ridge shirt on today. DJ has been cleared for some softball, so for the people who don't know, I can rake.
Oh, there it goes, baby! There it goes!
Softball, that's my thing. So I'm a washed up baseball player, but I am a brand new slow pitch softball player, and I can rake. So I got that tonight, right after this episode. So excited to be back, excited to be healed. But in the meantime, we've got other sports to talk about. Fresh on the top of everybody's minds is the NBA, right? The conference finals have started. Knicks, Pacers, Wolves, and OKC. It seems to be exciting. The talent level is a lot higher than I think people are really giving it credit for, Jacob. I mean, these are some deep teams that are in this playoff. And these aren't scrubs. These aren't the most popular teams that are playing in this series. Do I see some ratings possibly getting hit? Maybe, especially in the Eastern Conference. The Pacers is a smaller organization, but again, these are no scrubs on the floor here, Jay. What do you think of these playoff matchups? And what do you like about it?
I kind of like that there's some parity to it. I think if you have parity, I think it's always good for your league to have it. Now, granted, I think the NBA has a little bit too big of a parity issue. I'm not asking for guys to go back to back to back, Jordan-esque championships, but a back to back maybe, or one every 2 or 3 years. Kind of that's what I thought Denver was going to be. I think that's what we thought Boston was going to do this year. And instead, I think the reason why people aren't pumped about these conference final matchups is because they're all in the small market outside of New York, right? Indiana, not like the biggest market known to man, right? Minnesota, not a big market at all. OKC, without a shred of doubt, is not a premium market. For the NBA, for their sakes and purposes, they're kind of crap a little bit, but you got New York, and that's the biggest market of them all, honestly. And New York could burn down if the Knicks win the NBA final. New York, they have all the stars. Timothy Chalamet, Lisan Al-Gaib, as he's known as from Dune. Unbelievable stuff where he's going with his fandom. But talking about the Knicks, man, I'm interested to see how the pace of play is, because Tibbs doesn't sub out his guys, and the Pacers just push tempo. So I'm wondering to know how that's going to work out. I think that's going to be a really interesting battle there. I don't think it's going to be like the worst thing ever, but it's going to be an interesting battle in that sense. Tyrese Halliburton take another step up, right? He just seems to keep finding new levels to his game. And, on the one side, and this is going to be depth versus talent.
Yeah.
Because the Knicks, while they have very little depth, is what can you get out of those depth pieces that come in? And for the Pacers, it's can your depth pieces like have a major emphasis? Like, because he'll roll 10 deep, which is very uncommon in basketball to roll 10 deep. So I'm interested to see, like, if he's rolling 10 deep, what does that look like? Right? Who's is it Mathurin giving you the points, right? Is it McConnell, like whoever else it may be? And then I'm also really interested to see who is going to be, I guess the term is who's going to be Robin in this series. Because Cat has stepped up to be Robin for Brunson. Who's going to be Halliburton's Robin? And my guess is going to be Nembhard, because Nembhard's playing some of the best basketball of his career right now. So that's where I see it kind of going. As DJ, I got caught DJ in a mid-chew there. But I definitely think the Pacers, like, I think a lot of people are going to be like, I think a lot of people really want the Knicks for the sheer fact that we want to see if New York burns down if the Knicks win the Eastern Conference Finals.
Quick note there. I find it interesting that you picked Nembhard over Siakam in this matchup, as Siakam has, kind of really led the team all year. Siakam hasn't gotten the credit, but he's produced even more than Halliburton has this season as a regular season, at the least. Halliburton has stepped up very well, and has had a lot of help. Halliburton has kind of been a Robin, with the exception of, I believe it was Game 5 against Cleveland. But, as you were saying, he has progressed a lot in these playoffs on finding new ways to be productive, off the ball, passing the ball. He doesn't need the ball in his hands in order to be effective. So I think Siakam is going to play that, Robin-esque role, but I wouldn't be a stretch to say that Halliburton has been Robin, a great side piece to whoever's leading the team, which is it's traded.
I think it's truly, I think these two teams play such a great version of basketball. Like, this is going to be a fun series because neither of them are truly star dominated. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, Brunson is a superstar in the making right now. But he sometimes isn't the leading scorer. And sometimes it's Cat, sometimes it's Bridges, sometimes it's Hart, sometimes it's Anunoby, right? So I think, and then it goes the same with the Pacers. It's Halliburton, Nembhard, Siakam, Turner, Mathurin can give you 20 off the bench, right? And I think that what makes it so exciting is that anybody can go off and have an impact in a single game versus, when we talk about the West, it's SGA and Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle, and can they get help versus for these guys, it's can the stars show up, which I find exciting on this side of.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. You're talking about all four of these teams really have not seen playoff excitement in a long time, not to this hype, at least. With the exception of maybe Minnesota and OKC, not since their finals appearance, I believe in 2012 was the last time they were in the finals.
Who is this?
Bron's first championship was.
Yep.
Was against.
They haven't been back since.
Exactly. So, it's great to see. I kind of like basketball in that sense right now, that it is kind of two superstars in the making in the West, really, that highlight their team. And then you have just two really great teams in the East, depth and talent-wise. Lesser known talent, right, as Brunson and Cat definitely steal the spotlight in these two matchups, with the exception of maybe Halliburton. But it's a fairly balanced way to look at basketball right now, I think. And I think that's exciting. So, talking about the basketball still, you have the Timberwolves and the OKC Thunder. Game 1 happened on Monday. Tuesday. We are recording on Wednesday. Game 1 of the Knicks-Pacers starts tonight. Not really too much going on in OKC for game one. Compared to other basketball games in these playoffs, my initial thought was it was surprising that OKC was able to function as well as they did coming off a 7-game brutal series with Denver. Like their production slowed down a little bit, but their defense was fantastic. Minnesota did miss some shots, but SGA did what SGA does, right? Hate it, like it or hate it,
Free throw merchant.
He's productive. He's
Free throw merchant.
I will not disagree with you, but
Anthony Edwards getting hurt, I think, is a big issue for Minnesota.
Well, it is for sure.
It's not. Granted, even though I think he came back,
he did.
It still means he's not 100%. It still means something's going to ail him. I think Julius Randle has done wonders in these playoffs.
100%.
Again, the SGA free throw merchant, call it what you will. It's the James Harden treatment. Foul bait, get to the line. When a third of your points come from the free throw line, it's absurd. And he did not shoot the ball well, and he still had 31 points because he was at the free throw line. And I think Timberwolves fans and players like Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle, when they went to their press conference, both looked at the stat sheet and just laughed. He's not being touched. He's just flailing and circus shotting everything, and he makes it. He did win the MVP. I don't know if you mentioned that. If you did, I apologize. Did you mention that?
Not mentioned it yet.
SGA won the MVP. Granted, I don't think he should have. I think Jokic was easily the best player in the entire NBA. In every single category except points per game was he better than SGA. But the NBA likes to do this thing of it's his turn now versus giving it to the right player. But Jokic, I don't think cares. I think Jokic wants to win titles or go play with his horses. And I think for Minnesota, I think you just got to combat. I think you got to combat OKC, and that home crowd for OKC is tough. Because the minute there's the smallest bit of momentum, it's a tidal wave.
Right.
And it's hard to stop. It's hard to weather. And those that do it great. But, man, we saw what it did for Denver. Denver had to win at the buzzer in OKC, right? It is. I think OKC, has only had 1 or 2 home losses these playoffs. It is a very, very, very tough place to play.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, I don't think Minnesota's in trouble yet. I think in trouble is a gross overreaction. But I'm not feeling comfortable being we can come back. Granted, it's 1-0 right now, and it'll be hopefully 1-1 by the time of this episode. But still, it's Ant being hurt, not being 100%, it's going to send shockwaves. And Minnesota's the team I'm worried about. If they don't get a third guy to come maybe play some heroics, I'm not sure if they can survive that. Because OKC has guys that can survive it, like Caruso, Chet, right? Jalen Williams, even. So.
Yeah, I think the biggest definer or the biggest difference really in this series is going to be almost the age difference, if you will. The youth of OKC is going to benefit them so much, especially because they have the depth to use it as well. I mean, OKC just went 7 games again in a brutal series with Denver. They turn around in 2 days and they're able to hold a Timberwolves team who's had a break, right? And had time to game plan and, fix whatever they needed to fix going into the series and flopped, for lack of a better word. I don't think they're out of it yet. My heart wants to take Minnesota in this series. I don't. I can tell you if Minnesota loses this next game, they'll be done in 6.
Yeah.
They'll be done. It'll be OKC in 6.
I don't even know it'll be 6. It might be 5.
Yeah, it could be. But
I just think if you're a casual fan, I'm not going to say we're the biggest NBA heads in the world, right? It's a very bad, boring product during the regular season. In the playoffs, it's a bad first round, but then you get some good games in the second, and the conference finals and the NBA finals are really good. Wish they have that going for them. But for me, I'm locked into Knicks Pacers more than Wolves Thunder. I'm way more locked in. just because New York and that storyline and the history. Ironically, there's a ton of history between the Knicks and the Pacers, which I think adds so much levels to what this is. Like, we got Reggie Miller with the famous choke to Spike Lee, and then the same series, I think, or a couple years later, it was the 8-13 or 13-8 or something like that, right? 8-13, yeah. And here we are, running it back again. And I think it'll be a phenomenal series. Game one will have already been played, but I'm still gonna kind of say it. I think the Knicks get it done, and I think this series will go 7 because, like I mentioned before, there's gonna be games where the Pacers outrun the Knicks out of the building because they have so much depth versus the Knicks are gonna rotate maybe 7 guys.
So what your prediction is what again?
Knicks and 7.
Knicks and 7. Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna take Knicks in 6. I think there's gonna be a ride of momentum past this first game that it will be tough for Indiana to stop. If they take one out of New York in the first 2, they are ahead of New York, right? Or who has home court?
New York has home court.
Yeah. So if they take one away from New York, I mean, it'll be a miracle.
Yeah.
And if it's going to be any game, if I was going to lose one game in New York, it'd have to be game 1. If I were New York, you can give up game 1, but you got to ride a ton of momentum into game 2, going away to Indiana.
But Indiana has been so good on the road, man. They took 3 from Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
And then they took, I think, 1 in Milwaukee or 2 in Milwaukee. I can't remember. I think they took 1 in Milwaukee. They're like the WWE version of a heel. They love it. They love being hated. They love being on the road. They love being doubted. And I just got this scary feeling that Indiana is going to win this. I feel like they might steal game 1. But who knows? I think it just got this feeling,
Yeah, I think if you're New York, winning, it almost feels like a trap because Indiana's going to steal one. And right, you don't want to build that momentum. But I think if New York was going to lose one, like game 1, we're fine. You get back, you get the crowd back going in game 2, you go into Indiana, you take a game there, and you keep riding that momentum.
I'm in the opposite boat. I think if you lose game 1 and you're the Knicks, it's almost sheer panic mode. Because
the city is going to panic.
But this is what the Pacers have done. The Pacers steal one on the road, send it home, and then they blow you out in a game, like in the 3rd game of the series, and halt all your momentum. Remember when the Cavs, they lose 2-0, they go to game 3, right? They beat the Pacers in a battle, right? Game 4 comes, they get blown out of the building by 40. This is the Pacers, man. It's crazy to say, and everyone's going to be like, oh, it's the Pacers. No, the Pacers are a legitimate basketball team, very much an NBA championship level team, right? I think we were all so caught up with Boston that we didn't really take the East seriously versus now watching these playoffs. It's nah, dog, if they run into OKC, they can go shot for shot with OKC and outrun OKC if they have to. I think the Knicks, this is really a strength of legitimate endurance. Of if you got to go get game 1, so that way you don't feel like you're going into game 2 because the New York media is going to squash them. It's like Toronto, with hockey, right? They're a great hockey team. Great hockey team. Their last 2 games, DJ at home, they lost 12-2 goal-wise. They got blown out of the building, and they have so much pressure on their shoulders. New York's going to put this pressure on them.
Mm-hmm.
With you can't not see the craziness of New York.
Right.
So if you lose game 1 and you got to go maybe a day or 2, and that's all the tabloids are saying, are we cooked? They suck. Is Brunson the guy? Is Cat the guy? Who did we trade for? And that's all you hear in a 24 to 48 news cycle. Man, they're athletes, so they'll be pros about it, but that's not something you want to have going into game 2, in my opinion.
I agree that's not what you want, but I think, again, the bounce back leading into a game in Indiana and taking one away in Indiana, and then you have Indiana on their heels for game 4 at that point, I think is a position that I would want to be in versus, hey, let's lose game 1, or I'm sorry, let's win game 1, lose game 2, then go on the road. So, but nonetheless, just to, keep this boat rowing, I got the Knicks in 6. Jacob has Knicks in 7. I'm picking OKC in 6.
Thunder.
I feel like I'm going to regret that later.
I'm gonna go Thunder in 6.
So, and Jacob's got Thunder in 6 as well. So, sticking on.
Do we just want to go into the embrace debate?
Yeah, I was going to say, to continue on with the theme of basketball, NBA talk.
Listen, the Dub, it's growing, man. They just had their largest viewership over the weekend for an opening weekend, which is great. There's a ton of eyes on it, for good and for bad. I just want to say the Dub's growing. I got WNBA tickets for when Caitlin Clark comes to Dallas. So that's all I'm saying.
Everybody wants to see Caitlin Clark. This is the truth. Everyone wants to see Caitlin Clark. She is the pillar of the WNBA right now.
Speaking of Caitlin Clark.
Speaking of, and the crumbling pillar that is next to her in Angel Reese, a little scuffle, if you even want to call it a scuffle. A little run-in, bump, hard foul.
It was a hard foul. It's a take foul. It's a hard foul.
So
you don't let her get the 2 points. Granted, she may not have made the layup because she struggles with them if you watch Angel Reese play. But I gotta think what I don't like. I will say this. That's a common foul. Caitlin was like, listen, it was a common foul. Everybody does it. If you play basketball, you don't let them get 2 points. You send them to the line, especially if you know they're not a knockdown free throw shooter, right? That's just what you do. Versus Angel Reese was like, the refs called it. They got it right. Let's move on. Like, was it a flagrant one? I guess the only way you can call it a flagrant one is the intentionality behind it. Like, Caitlin didn't make a basketball play. Maybe that, I think, is the ref's reasoning. Whatever it was, it's not the right call. But Angel and I think Aaliyah Boston got dueling texts. And then Angel Reese missed her one free throw because ball don't lie. But the news cycle, DJ, has completely blown this completely out of proportions. Completely.
And I think it hurts the WNBA more. Like, I'm a big fan of even showing the replay, right? Like, of this little Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, they get into a little bit. Like, that's fine. People like that rivalry. They already like the rivalry anyway. So add a little fuel to the fire and let it burn. But where it hurts the WNBA is you upgrade the fouls. Why upgrade it? Like,
I think that's
are we really going to sit here and be like, we're going to praise the WNBA, or people are going to praise us because of a common foul? Like, not technically a common foul, but a commonly...
It's a common basketball play. It's a common basketball play. But not even talk. Angel Reese pushed a Fever player to get the rebound, and then Caitlin was like, what is this? And then goes and fouls her. And then Angel with a completely unnecessary reaction. Right? It's a
100%.
common foul. Like, you flop, you hit the court hard, and then you get up and you're gonna go fight. It's a common.
She flopped.
It's a common flop. It's a common basketball play, and there's been and also Caitlin Clark last year got body slammed in nearly every game that she was in because all these women are intimidated by her. I remember. I got a stat for you, DJ. It was Diana Taurasi was like, that little college BS like won't work here. You're playing with grown women. Well, Caitlin Clark in 42 games has had more 20 and 10 games than Diana Taurasi did in her entire career in the WNBA. Like, Caitlin Clark's about to put up Wilt Chamberlain numbers. She is third all-time in triple-doubles with 6. Well, with 3. She's third with 3, and the record is 6. Like,
yeah.
The WNBA has been struggling. Caitlin Clark's a bright spot. Paige Beckers is a bright spot. A lot of these women are bright spots. Granted, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, does that make me want to watch Sky Fever? It does, because partly because you kind of know something crazy is going to happen. but also like you got it from college, which is why I think they're trying to make this a rivalry. But like I think every single time they played, Caitlin Clark has dogged the Sky. Like they dogged them by nearly 30 plus in this past matchup.
Yeah.
Right? And then they didn't play Haley Van Lift at all, their 11th overall pick. So now I'm just like, okay, well, you promoted Haley Van Lift was going to play, and she didn't get into the final 2 minutes of the game when the game was out of reach.
Yeah.
I mean, again, the Sparks are exciting, right? They got Kelsey Plum. They got Cameron Brink. The aces are great. The links are incredible with Collier, right? You know, the aces with Asia Wilson, who's one of the best basketball players I've seen on either side, men and women. So I think the Dubs doing great, but man, they got also the media. I want to circle back to the media here. The media blew this way out of proportions. I think there's a certain level of like, hey, it's like Steph Curry having, I saw on Twitter, it was like Steph Curry having a rivalry with Morten Gortat. Like, there's levels to this, right? It's like having a rivalry with Dylan Brooks is what it feels like, right? But it's like, man, and then out of nowhere, RG3 and Ryan Clark started getting into it because then they made it a race issue. And like, out of nowhere, Ryan Clark revealed that he has a biracial son. Out of nowhere. Like, this is where this take has gone to on the in the Twitterverse, DJ. Like, the
That's why I
media.
stay away from Twitter.
Dude, it's actually so funny the way it just spiraled into this just rage bait, calling everybody out. Like, it's a race issue. It's not a race issue, first off. Like, now, granted, somebody was saying hateful stuff to Angel. I think a fan was. That's not, we're not praising that. We're not doing
Not at
that.
all.
Right? But it was a common basketball play. She flopped. She reacted unnecessarily. And now we've been talking about it for nearly 3 straight days. And it will be on the news cycle for who knows how much longer. But I just think the media needs to chill. Like, that was in the ESPN news cycle, 48 hours, because they needed everyone to talk about it. And it's like, I think it's a story. I don't think we make it more than a 5-minute segment in each hour of SportsCenter, personally.
I definitely agree. Like, I understand the media aspect of it. Like, this is going to bring the viewership up in it, I think, especially when it's opening weekend for the WNBA, and it's sparks flying right away. Again, it doesn't need to be as long as it is, but definitely a point of emphasis, just a little tally to keep in the back of the head when this matchup comes back around again. And I digress from this one. Moving forward, so the NFL schedule came out last week. Interesting enough, everybody was waiting for this schedule to drop.
I hope you're ready for a ton of Falcons and Commanders this year in prime time. Like, man, is that something? Like, Commanders I get, but the Falcons? That's who we're giving 7 prime time games to?
Is that Sunday night or Monday night? Or both?
I think that, like, it's Sunday night, Monday night, and Thursday night are the prime time slots. So anything that's a night game or one of the holiday games is also considered a primetime game as well. I mean, listen. I think there's one caveat I want to start saying here.
Okay.
Is part of my take, Big Cat mentioned division games should never be played outside of the country, which I agree with. Like, Chargers, Chiefs, like, for some Chargers fans, they want to go see the Chiefs in Los Angeles, and now the Chiefs aren't coming to LA. So I think you got to keep division games in division. Like, if it was Chiefs, Packers in Brazil, I think that's fine. You know, Chiefs, not Chiefs, Broncos, like Chiefs, Texans in Brazil is fine. Right? Like, that's an example. And another thing is we got too many international games. I'm all for growing the game. But when it starts taking away from what I want to watch,
right?
Like, I get what the NFL is trying to do. They're legitimately making Sunday an all-day NFL experience, if you really think about it.
Right.
And Well, that's great and dandy. Like, Minnesota's playing 2 international games. Like, that's not fair to their fans.
Giving a team 2 international games is crazy in and of itself.
They're going to Ireland, and then they're staying overseas and then playing in London.
I mean,
Like,
I guess it's a better way to do it, but
I mean, at first it was kind of fun. I mean, they technically have 2 less road games, technically, so their home games weren't impacted. But that's just me, man. I just feel like we're getting to like, I feel like we're getting out of hand with how many international games we're getting at this point.
yeah, that's a tough one to bring on. Like, spreading the love, I think, is where it needs to go to, especially when you have people who like their team and want to see their team at home, or they want to see their team play in the city that they're at. You know, again, growing the game has to come to a peak somewhere. I don't know what that limit is. I know they want games in Mexico City. It's Ireland now. It's
They're going to Spain.
Yep, Spain is
Germany,
on that list.
London.
Germany. You know, they've got all these destinations, and, like, again, I'm for growing the game just as you are. The league is not going to turn away all of this money, but you almost need to have a weekend of international games, right? And have it be one weekend. I just thought of that on the spot. And I'm not saying it's the solution, but think about it.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it versus now in the grand scheme of it, it is just like, well, there's only 2 teams out of 32. And it's like, yeah, but like I'm a fan of the Vikings and you sent the Vikings international for 2 weeks.
Right.
And if you watch TV and you want to watch the games in the morning, now we got all these different time zones. Like, if we play in London, it's a 9 a.m. kick.
Right.
Like, you're watching football all day. And now, like, basically you have 8 weeks throughout the year of them playing, like, all day, essentially.
Yeah. So I think that you could cut it down to, like, international weekend, right? Have these games in these different cities, you know, kind of just slap it all at once. It's going to be a huge influx of money for the league as well as all these games. And you get each country at the same time the ability to pack the stadium that they're in. I don't like the multiple weeks. I don't like the multiple teams, I'm sorry, one team going multiple times overseas in a year. I think that definitely takes away from the experience of one team for sure, if not both teams in its entirety. So, if you want to give them one weekend to go overseas and put these teams on rotation to where they're going, I think that's the easiest solution right away. And I think you're right in the fact that they need to stay away from divisional games. Jacob, I want to move forward to, keeping this schedule talk. I think the Jags have been an interesting topic this offseason, especially with Travis Hunter. And a lot of people have been sending me the matchups that these teams are going to have to go up against, or that Travis Hunter specifically is going to have to go up against, right? Yeah. And they on all the sheets that I'm seeing, Travis Hunter is going up against DB1, and I think that is the most absurd thing that I have heard. I think it's
I don't know.
Fans possibly blowing this out of proportion. Like,
I don't know.
Ward is guarding Brian Thomas. Travis Hunter, that's Jamar Chase's. I definitely picked Travis Hunter. But when these big matchups, Travis Hunter is not being guarded by CB1. Brian Thomas is being guarded by CB1. And that's point blank period. And then you had the viral video of Travis Hunter running routes this past week too. And it looks bad. And I'm not gonna blow that out of proportion.
Everyone needs to relax. Because it's this Dov Kleiman guy. And it's two plays out of the entire practice. And granted, Travis Hunter's not the best route runner. We know that. He's freakishly athletic with a wide catch radius.
Right.
The route running will come.
For sure.
When compared to Ted McMillan, yes. Ted McMillan's footwork is a lot better than Travis Hunter's.
Mm-hmm.
You also are not perfect every rep. Sometimes you're not perfect in your own body. I think everyone needs to chill with that personally. But the DB1 thing, Travis Hunter's wide receiver 2. And then everyone was doing, well, Travis Hunter's going to go guard wide receiver 1. And I'm over here being like, Travis Hunter's
Absolutely not.
Travis Hunter's going to play in zone packages on defense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Liam Cohen's not going to be like, dude, I know you just went on a 14-play drive in the Florida Heat. Now I need you to go guard Jamar Chase one-on-one. Will he have to do that? Yeah, but maybe like 2 or 3 plays out of an entire game will he have to go one-on-one with Jamar Chase.
Right.
I think the plan for Travis Hunter is zone packages on select defensive plays and then be a full-time offensive guy.
I like that. I think he could arguably be a wide receiver 3 or a slot receiver.
Yeah.
For this Jags team, right? Especially if they wanted to really maximize him on both sides of the ball, putting him in the slot, putting him in certain packages on defense is how you're going to maximize, personally, his usage. From overloading him, from minimizing the hits on both sides of the ball, and going back to who he's guarding on defense, it sure as heck is not going to be your wide receiver ones too. I know one Jags fan, Joe. I'm like, Joe, he is not guarding these people, and he is not being guarded by these people. There's no shot.
There's listen, Joe's the most delusional Jags fan we probably know. And that's the most delusion I've heard come out of Joe's mouth, and I know Joe. He said some delusional stuff. Now, I think the way the Trevor and the coaches talk about him, I think Travis Hunter is a bright spot for the Jags. He brings tons of juice, tons of energy, culture guy, loves to be there, loves to play football, right? Like all these different things. And I saw one thing and it was like Travis Hunter was shadowboxing at practice. Is he really paying attention? I'm like, listen, I'll stand and dudes are dudes, man. I'll stand here and just really imaginary shoot a basketball, right? It's just dudes being dudes.
Right.
He's the juice. He loves being moving, and he probably just can't stand still. It's probably ADHD if we're all being honest here. But I think everyone needs to relax with it. My favorite thing to do is overreact to how many wins my team's going to have. Like, looking at the Minnesota Vikings, I'm like licking my chops. Like, against the Bears, win. Falcons, win. Bengals in September, win, because the Bengals suck in September.
I don't know. The Falcons are going to be a solid team this year, though.
I'm going win. We're looking at the Steelers, win. Browns, win. Eagles, probably a loss because we'd never beat them. Chargers, win. Lions, we're going to win this one. Win. Ravens, lose. Bears, win. Packers, win. Seahawks, win. Commanders, I'm going to give us a win. Cowboys, win. Giants win, Lions win, Packers win again. I mean, listen, 15-2 is not off the table. That's all I'm saying. I just love overreacting.
No, I think it's going to be a great NFL year. A lot of these rookies coming in, the playoffs.
Right now too, if we're talking a little bit about training camp talk, did you see the Browns quarterback room as of right now? The projected depth chart of Kenny, Dylan, Joe, Shador. It's a projected QB depth chart.
From who?
Dude, everything I've seen on Twitter
Kenny was like Pickett,
QB 1, Dylan Gabriel 2, Joe Flacco 3.
Miss me with that. They haven't gone any farther than rookie minicamp. The pros haven't even arrived yet.
I'm just saying. No, they had OTAs. They're having OTAs right now. The pros are there.
When did they start OTAs?
I think this week.
Oh my gosh. It is Wednesday. I'm sorry. I saw the same. I saw that Shador Sanders was excelling in rookie minicamp, which is just rookies. By the way, just to point that out, rookies and free agent signings.
Wait, I can't wait the entire summer to ask you about Shador Sanders on the Browns.
And you can, and I'm going to keep up to date with it. And that's, you know what? If he wins the QB position, that's fine. I'm really fine with it. But our argument was value and execution, right? That is what we debated over in his picking and necessity. And if he beats out Dylan Gabriel, I mean, good. I want the competition. I'm fine with it. The fact that Kenny Pickett's if Kenny Pickett starts with this team, the Browns are going for what's his name from Texas, Manning, for Arch.
Listen,
No way
to me,
Kenny Pickett starts for the Browns. Well,
I think
really
I think
starts, period. For the Browns, he might.
I think Joe Flacco is going to start. It has to be Flacco.
I think
has
it
to be
does too.
Flacco. I think it has to be Flacco. You can't turn down the guy with 15 years of experience on a QB on a team that's of that nature. But well, DJ, what else do we got here? Listen. This was a very high level NFL schedule. We're gonna go through every matchup throughout the summer as we break down divisions as we approach football season. So if we didn't talk about your team, don't fret. It's just we'll get there.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
I
So
think
you gave me an announcement that they did not ban the tush push.
Yes, no tush
So
push.
that was news to me. I did not see that pop up on my screen.
Yeah, it was voted 22-10, so they didn't get over the majority. So no tush push.
I think that's the right decision. I really do.
Teams
It
are
is a
voting for it.
stoppable play.
Yes.
It is stoppable. Highly improbable that somebody stops it, but not impossible.
Well,
The
it's
teams
highly
teams will
stoppable.
Evolve.
It's pretty stoppable. It's just the Eagles run it the best. And everyone worries about player safety because of all the weight, but it's really like it's maybe ran 3 times out of how many plays in a game.
I mean, I'll talk about a running back running up on a halfback dive on the goal line formation.
Same concept.
It is the same concept.
Also, it's just a different variation of a QB sneak.
Right. QB. It is a QB sneak.
I know. I think that they don't like is the pushing part. And I'm like, but they do that. They do that with running backs. Like
I for the
whatever.
longest time thought that it was gonna. I for the longest time thought it wasn't legal to push, and it used to be that you couldn't pull, right?
You
And now
couldn't.
they got
If
rid
you were
of-
if you were in front of them, you couldn't pull them towards you.
Yeah, I think they've changed that rule now too. So, but not anytime recently. I think in the past few years. So good on the NFL for that. Let's briefly go through MLB rivalry weekend. Something that I looked at the other day when I got notifications that they were starting, and I was like, "What?"
They were all weird. They were all weird. They were like supposed to be the like the interleague matchups, and
Yeah.
some of them were weird, man. Like Arizona and Colorado had a rivalry, and the only thing they said was they were division rivals.
Yeah, like I understand the concept, right? And you can't every series, yeah, but they went New York Mets, they went Mets Yankees. But I guess if they were going interleague, you said they were interleague, right?
Yeah, that's when they go across. It's
Yeah.
not interdivision. It's
But
interleague
you
matchup.
said Arizona and Colorado played.
Yeah, like I said, I don't like not all of them were the same. So I think the way I talked about it was the Cardinals and Royals was the Battle of Missouri / the I-70 battle.
Okay.
Astros Rangers, the Battle of Texas. Braves Red Sox. Hunter told me it's the Battle of the Braves because I think Boston used to be named the Braves or the Battle. I don't know, but I think that's what it was. Battle of Pennsylvania. Philly, Pittsburgh. This one I enjoyed was the battle of, I think it's like the DMV of Nationals and Orioles. That was really cool because they're right next to each other and they don't play very often. But this one made no sense. Detroit, Toronto made no sense. Maybe it's a border battle.
Yeah, I was thinking it could be border, Lake Erie battle.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Battle of Ohio, Cleveland, and Cincinnati. You had the Battle of Florida, Tampa, and Miami. You had another border battle between Minnesota and Milwaukee. You had a Battle of Chicago between the Cubs and White Sox. You had the Battle of Los Angeles and the Battle of the Bay of the Athletics and Giants and the Angels Dodgers. I didn't hear Mariners and Padres was the Vetter Cup after a rock and roll dude. Listen, I think the concept was good. The way they rolled it out was terrible, though.
Yeah, I looked at it and I was like, I don't know. What are you talking about?
They kind of just dropped it on us. They kind of just dropped it on Thursday, and it's like, here's all the rivals, and it's like, I didn't even know this was a thing.
I didn't
And
know
also,
this-
you didn't even have the right rivalries. I thought it was like Yankees Red Sox. Thought those were going to be the rivalries. No, they were kind of all these weird ones, and I'm like, some of these don't make a whole lot of sense right now. So I think the MLB's execution of that was Terrible.
Yeah, definitely agree. They said that viewership was up a ton. So for people who do pay attention or increasing, not even increasing, have their eye on baseball, they caught it. They watched it. You know, that average viewership through the weekend, it grew. So I do think it's a win for the MLB. It's now on my radar as something to look out for.
Pay attention to.
You know, and I think that was their biggest deficit. Like, this needs to be a week and a half, like a 10-day, week ahead. Hey, this is happening. Let's hype. Like, I remember all the time that they used to hype up the Subway Series, you know, the Mets, Yankees.
Yeah.
But they spent the whole week hyping that up. Why did they wait so late?
It's because ESPN doesn't. It's all basketball now, and that's where they kind of, I'm not going to say dug their, put their roots down or built the foundation, but ESPN is just slowly killing off a lot of these other sports, whether they know it or not. And it's sad to see personally. Like, first off, I want to pour one out for Around the Horn, man. That it's ending on Friday. The last ever episode's on Friday.
Yeah.
You want to talk about one of the best after school shows of all time? That was one of the best after school shows of all time.
For sure.
That coupled with Pardon the Interruption, it was great. It was great. I guess last little bit, you got time for one more, DJ?
Yeah, go to 7:15 or 7:16 and we'll wrap it.
One last little thing. This might be a conversation we might have to have with Drew. But Paul Skeens in Pittsburgh right now is brutal. Brutal. It's like having a Corvette that you can't drive. Almost. Or the opposite. Like, he is so good. Actually, it's like a Corvette with no engine. It's sexy. It's beautiful. It's great. But it sucks. Paul Skeens against the Phillies. Shoved. Complete game. 3 hits. 1 earned. 9 Ks. And they lost the game 1-0. Mick Abel had a great outing as well. 6 innings. 9 strikeouts as well. I want to give Mick Abel his due as well. But the Pittsburgh, it's like every Paul Skeens outing is so bad. He's legitimately, in a full season's worth of starts, is legitimately the best pitcher in history. With a 2.12 ERA. He is shoving. And the Pirates are nowhere near to be contention. Nowhere near to anything. And we have to sit here and watch him be on this terrible team, and we're never going to... It was like the Ohtani thing. It was like watching Ohtani in the Angels.
It's like watching Mike Trout.
It's like watching Mike Trout. I hope Paul Skeens has the brains, which I think he does, to where he does not re-sign with Pittsburgh when his time comes up and I hope he hits free agency. And I hope he goes somewhere competitive, because this is bad. And if I'm Pittsburgh, and you're not going to be competitive, and he's not the guy you're going to build around, trade him. Yeah. Problem is, I don't think there's a price for him right now, but everyone has a price, man. Juan Soto had a price. Everybody thought Juan Soto was untradeable. Juan Soto had a price. Machado had a price at a certain point too. So
I do think if people do have a price, it puts Pittsburgh in a sucky situation, because if you get rid of Skeens, you need to balance the opposite of what you need, right? Paul Skeens, you need a Paul Skeens or people to replace Paul Skeens, but you also need people that can hit. You need people that can get on base, drive in runs. I mean, Pittsburgh's really stuck between a rock and a hard place. I mean, it's got to be a stellar deal to get Skeens. I mean, just a disgusting amount of players.
You gotta, if someone's I think you call, and if I'm Pittsburgh, I'm still hanging up the phone, but man, as a fan, I'm sick and tired of watching him play in Pittsburgh. I'm so over it. And he's only been there for 2 seasons.
You know what,
I'm already over it.
I'm gonna toss a destination real quick out there. Hear me out. Because this is a team that has both and is good system coming up, and it might come off as a little biased, but I don't mean bias. Trade them to Cleveland. They're a different league, right? NL to AL. Cleveland has the pitchers. If they want pitching, Pittsburgh can get some pitching back. If they want some hitters, you could probably set a package up that looks nice enough to send him over. And that's just, I don't even want him. I like where Cleveland's sitting at right now. But I'm just saying, if I'm making a phone call to one specific team, that's not going to run me dry and is out of my, literally out of my league, Cleveland might be the place.
I've seen Philly get tossed out a bunch because Philly has the legitimate assets to trade them. They got Painter still in the system. They got Abel. They got tons of hitters that they can send. I've seen Boston be thrown around because of Meyer, Anthony, Campbell.
Right.
Trade some other pieces. But man, I don't know who can do it. I just don't. Again, everyone has a price. We won't know until it happens, but I think it's best for baseball for Paul Skeens to get traded, in my opinion. And I get Jeff Passan said it, and everyone's like, he shouldn't do that. Nah, man.
No, I mean, if I'm Pittsburgh,
he's going to play his best baseball in desolation. And that's like Mike Trout. I give him too much credit for being like, I want to stay with this franchise. Good. Look where it's gotten you. One playoff appearance.
Mike Trout is still considered one of the greatest baseball players of all time. Like, you can leave a legacy in a shitty organization. Excuse me. But
I mean,
is it worth it? Paul Skeens doesn't really portray hey, I'm media savvy, I desire the media. He's very much more nonchalant.
Listen, it's gonna come down to Paul Skeens probably won't sign in Pittsburgh because they're not gonna pay him.
Nope.
So then they'll
offer. They just don't have the money to pay him.
Yeah, and Paul Skeens, if he keeps going, is going to be the highest paid pitcher in baseball.
He could arguably be a $500 million signee.
He could be a 10-year guy and go somewhere. But nice little show, DJ.
We counted that one out, Jacob. MLB. Oh, we hit all three major sports: football, basketball, and baseball on the professional level.
Hockey. We will get there. Hockey's a next week thing. They just started their series, and I can't. My early predictions is Florida in 6 and Dallas in 7. That's talking hockey.
Alrighty. Well, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. We're on all platforms: TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook. We're on there too. Thank you for listening to The Deal with D and J.